guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Beverly and it's lovely to meet you. Today I am going to be reviewing a film that I think is really important for everyone to watch, not just sufferers of the illness, but it's a film called Unrest. I first heard about this film a few months ago and I became really excited because I thought somebody's done like a really good documentary about this illness that, you know, sorry, I'm suffering a bit today, but I just sat down and watched the film finally, and I think I must have cried about 6 times watching this film. And this review is going to be kind of a review mind vomit kind of thing. I'll do a more cohesive review hopefully on my blog, and if I can do that I will leave links down below. But it literally just finished and I felt so moved and so this incredible woman and her husband, Jennifer Bray, she's somebody who, I think at one point what she says is very profound and definitely spoke to me personally. She was frightened of losing her life just passing her by, and I think that's the thing that a lot of people with chronic fatigue syndrome, which is one of the illnesses that I have, or ME as it's also known, we feel that way. I mean, I've been basically housebound now. I go out occasionally, we try and pop out shopping about once a week, me and my husband, but if he's at work, I'm in the house and I don't leave the house on my own, really. And it does kind of feel like I'm in this bubble, this little cocoon of my home, and I think that's why I started my blog and my YouTube channel, was because I was frightened of disappearing. And I think that that's the main thing that I took away from this film, which is beautifully edited and so well done. And I just want to give you claps, gentle claps today, because noise is bad for me. But you see so many different people on, because chronic fatigue syndrome is a spectrum illness, and that means that there's some people who are bedbound, unable to speak. There's a guy on there, I think his name was Whitney, and he was like an adventurer. He loved taking photographs, and now he hasn't spoken for a year, maybe more now, since his portions of the movie were filmed. And he's just lies in a dark room all day and is incredibly depressed, and I see people like him as being what so many people feel like and fear when it comes to this illness, because you feel like your life's being stolen. When I first got sick, I was at university, and it started with like migraines and but I first got sick, and then I was nursing and I tried to push through all my symptoms, and it was incredibly difficult, almost impossible. And I tried lots of different jobs and I couldn't do them. And over time, I look back now and I don't have any of the same friends that I had then. I don't see people as often. People will come to see me like once and then they don't come again. And this is not, I'm not saying, sorry, I forgot to put my phone on silent, because that's where my brain is today. Just And it was really powerful in the film because I didn't feel alone. And that's the crazy thing. We're told that this is a rare illness, that they can't find what's wrong with us, and because they can't measure it, they can't see it, doctors aren't that interested. It's almost impossible to get funding for research for us. I think even though more people suffer with chronic fatigue than have multiple sclerosis, I think their funding is like 3 times as big as ours, because doctors still don't believe that it's a real illness. And I really took a lot from that. If you read back on my blog, my own personal story recently is that once they changed me from having the diagnosis of multiple sclerosis to fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue syndrome, I stopped having any sort of regular input from a doctor, and it was just kind of, I was left to get on with it. And it was definitely felt like there's nothing we can do. And then when I went to see my doctor a week or so ago, she basically said to me, well, there's no cure, what do you want me to do? Well, just because there's no cure doesn't mean that I'm not suffering and that I don't need your help. There's a very important part in the film where she talks about, if you look back in history, there have been a lot of illnesses like chronic fatigue. It was called hysteria. If you look it up, hysteria, 100 or so years ago, people were just thrown into mental asylums and just left. Polio, I think one was called Epstein-Barr or something. There's been a lot of little things that I think if we just push them together and get all the research together. But the problem is that many doctors don't believe this is a real illness. And that was the main thing that I got away from this important film, was that so many of us are left feeling like, well, there's nothing we can do. I mean, even when I went to see my doctor last week, my doctor's referred me to a therapist. I don't need therapy. It's frustrating, and I can't even tell you how saddening it is and frustrating it is. There's one point in the film where she talks about this girl, Carina. She lives in Denmark, I think, and one day her mum opened the door and 5 police officers were there, and they took this poor girl out of her bed, and her mother hasn't seen her since. She's in a mental institution now. These things happen. They're happening right now to people who have got the same illness as me, and it's terrifying. It really is. I found this film so profoundly saddening and anger-making, because I was a nurse. I'm not crazy. I know the difference between a mental health issue and something that's real. I have real symptoms, real pain that's there continuously, and all these people have real problems with light, real problems with sound. I do on bad days. I can't have a lot of sound. It's like pain. Light is like pain. It's hard to explain, and I am going to try and write down and try and get a cohesive video up about what it's like to live with the illnesses that I have. But chronic fatigue is one that is a struggle because people don't believe you. I mean, I honestly don't think my dad believes me that this is an actual illness that I have. I told him about this film and I was like hopeful that he would watch it, and he just went, oh, it doesn't sound like my sort of thing. yeah, I don't know. I feel very emotional. Emotional, yes. I feel angry, I feel sad, I feel many emotions. But the thing that kept bringing me back to feeling hopeful is this amazing woman who interviewed so many people who suffer, so many chronic illness warriors who have this illness, and so many people, we all have the same story, we all have the same narrative. And there was a time, you know, like those poor people who were put into mental institutions with hysteria, or sent out to sanatoriums or whatever. Those people didn't have a voice. I have a voice. We have a voice. We have the internet. We can write blogs from our bed. We can record videos. Our family can record videos if we can't do it. We have this amazing technology, and we have the internet, so we can keep teaching people what it's like to live with these illnesses. And that's what I loved seeing. I loved seeing that so many people had YouTube channels, and so many people had blogs, and there are charities, there are people on Twitter, like, we can advocate for ourselves. We don't have to just disappear like people did in the past because we are housebound, or because we can't get out because of whatever reason, you know. Yeah, we might spend a lot of our days resting. It's not by choice. This film really highlights the physical symptoms, and also how different each day can be. There's a point where we see Jennifer go to brain fog today. What is the word I'm looking for? Grand Canyon. I was just about to say the big holy thing, Grand Canyon. She goes to the Grand Canyon, and because the air is dry and warm, she's able to walk. But then when she gets home, she's bedbound and she's unable to do anything. And then she shows later that she walks into the garden, and then she's in bed for like 2 days. And another point where she's dancing with her husband. It's such a romantic moment, and then she just goes, and that's it. That's the end of her for the day. And I've never had anything that dramatic, and I'm so thankful for that. But I understand how that feels. I have days where I will go out for the day to have, you know, for example, me going out for the day, for example, would be like an hour to the local shops. It's nothing exciting, trust me. But if I go to the shops for an hour, and I might look around the shop for like 15 minutes, and then I will spend the rest of the time in the cafe, or a cafe, sitting down. Then I will come home and I'll have to have like a 3 or 4 hour nap. People don't understand this, and that's what I hope this film will show, is how difficult it is to really be reliable, and how difficult it is for people to understand. Because when, I think there's a point that she actually says this in the film, when we're at our worst, we hide away, we're in bed, we're struggling at home, and you don't see us, you don't see those days. So what I might do is, next time I have a really bad day, is get my husband to record it. Because Jennifer was brave and her husband was brave. They were raw and they were open and they were honest. And all the people in this video were the same. So I'm going to try and be more raw and honest on this video. In future, when I talk about my illnesses. And I do want to do videos about each of my illnesses if I can. I just want to, I want to meet this woman and give her a hug. It probably never happened, but I do. I feel so thankful for this film. And if anybody ever asks me, what is your illness? What is it like? I can say, look, go and watch this film and it will explain it all. It's an incredible movie. It's powerful and it's moving, and it's, I mean, there's a shot where they did a protest, and people who couldn't be there, they bought a pair of shoes and they wrote a little label that said like what they miss from their lives. You could just see all this sea of little pairs of shoes, and it was so powerful. And I just felt so overwhelmed because so many of us just disappear. So many of us just disappear because of this illness, and I'm determined not to disappear. At one point I cried very much because she's crying and saying, what am I to you, to her husband, like, how can I help you, what do I do, how wouldn't you be better without me, I can't be a mother like this. And to me that really touched me, because that's all I've ever wanted to be, is a mum. My whole life I've just wanted to be a mum, that's it, a stay-at-home mum. That's my dream, that's always been my dream, and it's not happened yet because my illness kind of took so many of my baby making years away from me, you know. My mid to late 20s and early 30s were just me being sick, too sick to do anything. I am going to talk more on here about my illnesses and about how they affect me, because this video really affected me in so many ways, and I want to help spread awareness. I hope that people follow me who don't have any illnesses will come to see that I'm more than my illness, but my illness is bigger than me, and it feels overwhelming sometimes, and it does feel like we're being struck down in our prime and then disappearing, and it's sad. It's so sad. But I will leave links to everywhere that you can see this film. I think there's places like Hulu, Amazon, iTunes, all the usual suspects have this film. Please go support it. It's in a limited run in cinemas, but it is online. Do support this film. Do please go and give it your money, because it needs to be seen. People need to know what we suffer with, and that we're still people, you know. Jennifer, if you ever get to see this video, I'm so thankful for this film. Thank you for your husband showing what it's like to be a carer. When I show this video to my husband, when we will be watching it in the next few days together, I'm sure he will be thankful that the carer's story is being shown as well in your beautiful film. So please go and watch it. Educate yourselves. Don't be like Ricky Gervais saying that, oh, I just can't bother to go to work today. That's not what ME is. That's not what chronic fatigue is. It's debilitating and it steals your life. And yeah, I'm sorry for crying. I've been doing a lot of that today. This film really touched me, and I'm going to watch it about 50 million times, because I want to find all the people in this film and follow them online and make sure they're not forgotten, and make sure that I speak up for people with the same illness as me, because not everybody has a voice anymore. But I do. Hear me roar. Or not, you know. I hope you could hear me okay. My voice is a bit softer today because I am not having a brilliant day. So it's hard to speak loudly. But yeah, please go support this film. It's incredible, it's amazing. I had too many feels. I don't know if this was actually a review or more like an emotional reaction, but hopefully I'll have a more cohesive review on my blog. So yeah, I will leave links to everything that you need down below. Support the film, go and watch it. And let's not let people with chronic illness be forgotten. If you've got a friend who has a chronic illness, don't forget them. Include them in things. Go and see them for a cup of tea. They can't always go and see you, but you can go and see them. Because I rarely see anybody. But thank you all for joining me today. If you like this video, if you want me to talk more about chronic illness, if you want me to talk about, review more films that are about the chronic illnesses that I have, leave me a like so I know. Leave me comments down below if you've seen this film, if you're going to see this film. Leave me comments below because I have a lot of feelings and I need to get them out. So let's talk, and yeah, make sure you subscribed. Ring that little bell so you get all the notifications when I upload, and I'm getting close to 200 subscribers on here, so that's really exciting. But yeah, go watch the film and